But about 11 p.m. last night, finished up my normal nightly routine, just got home from the gym, normal night, whatever, feeling good, sitting down for dinner. And all of a sudden, I can see lights flashing all into my house and into my windows. And I've got some pretty big windows in the front of my house. So it's, it lights up the whole house when that happens. So, okay, I walk up to the window. It's like a 2-story window. And I can see the police lining up. And I immediately know what's happening at that point. And so they see me through the window. They point at me. And I just kind of, show my hands. I'm like, 1 second, I'm coming down. Grab my phone so that I can record the thing. Open the door. Say, is this for me? They say yes. They're just kind of going through their training. Sit my camera down on my phone so I can record the thing, and then they shout their directions at me, and everything else is documented in that video that I uploaded to X. I'm also working on getting some other videos right now as well from some neighbors that witnessed the whole thing and shot it, so I'm going to try to secure those videos.
So in case you're wondering who this is Owen Schroyer with InfoWars, works with Alex Jones. Remember, one of Alex Jones's guys just got, how do I say this without these people freaking out, just got unalived a couple weeks ago. And now, soon after that, Owen Schroyer is at home by himself, and these guys show up at his house and do the same thing. Well, no, the other guy was in a parking lot, but Owen was a victim of actual swatting, which is extremely dangerous. So let me explain what swatting is for those of you who may not know. Swatting, just as it says, involves getting the SWAT team of the local police department wherever you live to come out to your house. But they're coming out thinking that something very nefarious is going on at your residence. These people have been targeting conservatives. They've been going after them if you have any sort of influential following. Hasn't happened to us, nor do I hope to have it happen to us. And it's just been something awful. So what they do is they make a phone call to the local police. First they find out where your address is and where you are. And then they call the police and say, oh my God, I cannot believe what's going on. They're inside the house and they're shooting and people screaming and I just heard another shot. Get over here really quick. And so that's coming into a 911 operator whose only objective is to make sure people can be saved and that the other people are safe. So what does she do? She does her protocol. She dials up active shooter, danger, 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 Will Robinson, and then they send out and dispatch everybody they need to dispatch. When that happens, they show up at the house armed to the teeth, thinking they're going to have to take on an active shooter in the home. And what the bad guys are hoping for is that when they bang on your door at 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the morning, and number one, you're going to be startled. Number two, you may end up reaching for something. And then the police, thinking that you're a predator or a perp, may end up shooting you, thereby taking out a conservative voice that they don't want speaking anyway. And it's happening over and over and over. So listen to what Owen has to say about what happened to him the other night.
Well, and so they go through the process and walk me out of the house, ask me to basically take my clothes off. So I'm standing there with just some gym shorts on. I have to get on the ground, crawl backwards to get to them. They obviously handcuff me at that point, pull me up, sit me on the neighbor's house, on the side of the house, and then they go into the house, probably a team of 6 or 8. There's about a dozen cops out there. And then they go into the house. They were told the false police report that was filed was that I had shot and killed someone in my house. So you can imagine the protocols for something like that. So they basically have to kind of tear through your house. So I had to do a lot of cleanup last night. But obviously they go through the house and, realize it was a false report.
This morning, a growing number of conservative influencers are getting targeted by swatters. There have been at least a dozen incidents in recent days of bogus calls that draw police and first responders to the target's home, including the home of Erin Durham in North Carolina. She opened the door late at night to armed officers.
When I walked up to the door, he was pointing a gun at me, and obviously like immediately stopped when he saw me. But it was a lot of confusion, a lot of fear. I felt like I was going to pass out most of the time that they were in the house.
This is so disturbing. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security are now investigating these incidents, and CNN Hadass Gold is joining me now. She is looking into
So
that.
before this lady starts talking on CNN, I'm amazed that finally it made it to CNN. It is so egregious. It is so dangerous what's happening. Now it's to the point where innocent people are in danger. Merely for doing what I'm doing right now, talking about President Trump, talking about Elon Musk, talking about conservative values. They don't want us to even speak. They don't want us to even talk about what's going on. And I know a lot of police officers, and I got a guy who up in Orange County who texts me all the time. He goes, "You careful?" And I was kind of being remiss. I'm like, "No, we're fine. We live in a gated community, blah, 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 blah." He goes, if something's happening and they're rolling, they're going to roll right through the gated community. The guy's going to raise the gate, and they're going to flash their badges, and they're coming. And I thought to myself, okay, so what do I do? And what he had told us to do was actually me. He's like, go to the local Palm Beach Sheriff's Department, introduce yourself, tell them what you do, tell them how you might be a target, let them know, who you are, that you and your wife are fine, nothing's going on. So if they get a call for your address, they know in advance, it's in the file, and that could really help. But it's not going to stop. So when they come and they knock on the door, you're a big guy, make sure you let them know, hands up, talk nicely, don't try to be antagonistic, don't get pissed off, just acquiesce, let it happen. And I was like, well, I can do that, and my wife can do that, but my little chihuahua, he's going to go crazy, and I'm going to have to ask him, let me pick him up, because he's going to go, and I don't want you guys hurting my dog either. You can see how this thing can go haywire pretty quickly. And I, don't move. Hey, man, I'm not moving. I'm just trying to get my dog, okay? And getting startled out of bed 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and something like this happens to you. And most people can't even put themselves in a situation where they can even understand that this is happening. Never mind go through it. And then, like, if you happen to be like Owen and they start going through your house, if they think you're a drug dealer or something, or they think you got weapons, they may break stuff, and then they're not going to fix it. It's a scary situation, a very scary situation.
As well, what are you learning? Who is the target mainly, and how does this all go down?
So what we've seen is over the past 2 weeks, at least a dozen influencers have been targeted in these swattings. And not just swattings, they're also getting things like bogus pizza deliveries. Now, what we found commonality amongst...
So the pizza deliveries. There's two aspects I understand from this whole pizza delivery thing. They're ordering pizza and sending it to your house. First, what I've understood is they're seeing it to see if you're home. If the pizza delivery has been confirmed, they're sending you a pizza. So then you get to knock on the door, hey, I got a pizza for Barry. I didn't order any pizza. That's your first signal. Somebody's doing something, and they're trying to find out information from you. So be careful if you happen to be someone with a YouTube channel or very vociferous on X, and if you get a pizza delivered to you that you didn't order, it's not a mistake. Somebody is doing something to check what's going on. The second thing, especially what happened with Owen Schroyer, they sent him a pizza with the guy's name on it that had been unalived. So it's the left is loving this. The left wants to see this kind of terrorization taking place. They've lost their minds completely. At this point, this is no longer a political party. This is a terroristic organization. You know what's going on with Elon Musk. You know what they're trying to do. They're lying to people everywhere they can. And that's why I'm kind of amazed that CNN even covered this.
These influencers is almost all of them have some sort of following on X. Almost all of them are pro-Trump. Many of them have interacted with actually Elon Musk, the owner of X. some of them have millions of followers and are super well known, and some of them are some of these more smaller influencers. But again, almost all of them are pro-Trump. Many of them call themselves conservatives, and many of them have interacted with Elon Musk. Now, as you noted, swatting is very dangerous, and it can be deadly. These callers were calling with bogus calls of people being shot, of a home invasion, of holding people hostage. It causes a huge response from police and emergency services, which draws them away from other actual emergencies. But if there's confusion, something could go wrong, and something could go very wrong. So I actually spoke to two of these influencers. I spoke to Aaron, who you just heard from.
Look at, that's what he woke up to. He woke up to, this is a different guy, Larry Taunton in Alabama. He wakes up to, and he's got a Ring doorbell or something there, and he can see these guys with weapons, 3 of them, big weapons, long guns, right outside your door. And you're half foggy. You don't really realize what's going on here. And you've got a Ring doorbell, and you may not recognize that those guys are in uniform. And it just looks like 3 armed guys right outside. So your first inclination is, maybe I should arm myself. Maybe I should get it out there, out wherever you keep it, and protect yourself, which could get you killed.
And to Larry Taunton. She's in North Carolina. He's in Alabama. Both got these swatting calls right around the same time, early Sunday, right around 1 a.m. Both got bogus calls about that. They were pretending to be the homeowners, saying that they had been shot. There were other people had been shot, caused a big response. Here's what Larry said he experienced. Take a listen.
There were no sirens, no lights, no announcement, nothing, and he's trying the door handle.
So this is what scares me. Not many things do. This guy, Larry Taunton, who they swatted, is a conservative influencer. I've never heard of him. Maybe some of you guys have. Let me know in the chat. Have you ever heard of Larry Taunton? Have you ever watched any of his videos? Have you ever interacted with him on X? I never have. So it's not the Dan Bongino size people. It's not Steven Crowder. Tim Pool, he has been swatted, but they're digging really deep. They're going way down to, people my level, his level. I've never heard the guy, so I can't even imagine why he would be that much of a threat, except for the fact that he has an audience and he's talking about Trump. It's crazy.
And I am crouched inside, armed, and I'm thinking if that man comes through my door, I'm going to light him up. Because you're just thinking, somebody's here to murder me and my wife.
And what's really notable is a lot of these influencers are armed. They carry guns. And so many of them are saying this could have turned really bad because I thought somebody was robbing my home.
Breaking in.
Yeah, Aaron called it a cheap form of domestic terrorism. Now, the FBI and the DHS say that they are investigating this. The Secretary of Homeland Security is saying that under President Trump's leadership, we will not sit idly by as conservative new media and their families are being targeted by false swatting. She also said this is an attack on our law enforcement and innocent families, and will be prosecuted as such.
See, I've got issue with this because those of us who have watched news over the last couple of years, we know that you hear the term chatter, and we're listening to Al Qaeda and ISIS and all these people, and we hear that an attack may be imminent. Well, are we not training that listening device per se on what people are saying when they're either ordering pizza, if it's not them, or calling in and doing a swatting thing? Now, I know it's probably impossible. I can't even imagine how many calls the police department gets. But if it involves somebody shooting, I bet you that number shrinks quite a bit. And I would just think at this point that the police department, they have to respond, but they've got to do some sort of recon to make sure this just doesn't keep happening.
What makes this hard to investigate is the technology that these people use with the swatting. They spoof their phone numbers. A lot of them even use artificial intelligence to spoof the voices. But there have been prosecutions on this, and this is a very dangerous game that people are playing.
It is. It's really dangerous, and it puts a lot of people in a bad spot. The police and the people who are being swatted. It's disgusting. Someone is going to get hurt. Someone has gotten hurt. I remember this happening over video games.
Yes,
where someone got really hurt in all of this.
People have been killed.
And people have been killed.
Yeah, exactly.
This is an extremely dangerous game. It'll be interesting to see from the FBI if they're ever able to find who.
And if there's any connections to the attacks we're seeing recently on Tesla dealerships, on the cyber attack that Elon Musk said happened on X, because there is this connection with Elon Musk here.
Yeah. All right. Head House Gold, great reporting. Thank you.
You think? You think that maybe the same idiots that are calling for violence on Tesla and keying cars and all the stuff that they're doing, putting poop on, you might think it might be the same group of people? Yeah, that's a good idea. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it's not an if, it's just a when. So I found this article on CNN's website. Excuse me as I cough a little bit. And this was a follow-up to that video. And it says, I just fell to the ground. Some of Trump and Musk's most public supporters targeted in a wave of swatting incidents. And then you can see it on a big blown up picture here, if I put it on that monitor. And now I am. Imagine waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and seeing that. How would you feel? This guy has a Ring doorbell camera, and he can actually see some of these guys, but imagine if it was just a little bit darker. And in the dark, you see 3 guys approaching your house with long guns. You see how this can get really squirrely? And I know I didn't have the screen on because I just fell to the ground. Some of Trump and Musk's most public supporters targeted in a wave of swatting incidents. Larry Taunton was in bed around 1 a.m. on Sunday in his Alabama home when he noticed his dog Ranger getting worked up. His ears were up and moving like satellite dishes, he told CNN. He noticed a flicker of light, and then the German Shepherd headed towards the front door. Taunton grabbed his gun and followed, leaving the lights off. When he got to the kitchen, all he could see in the darkness was a figure in body armor. That would terrify me. I'm thinking if the man comes through my door, I'm going to light him up, not knowing that he's a police officer. Taunton has 177,000 followers on X and 140,000 on YouTube. Now, what's most worrisome about all this, as I'm trying to get through this, what's most worrisome, you guys could read this article and go through it and everything else, but when you get to the bottom, you get to the comments, and there's 862 comments. And what's bad here is that these people don't give a shit. If this is true, boo-hoo. Now they know what it feels like to be targeted and profiled. I believe it's all made up, though, so Cheeto can declare martial law and truly be the king. I think this is a bogus story made up by CNN. A scary thought. What if these attacks and Tesla vandalism are being done by people who are trying to give Thumper an excuse to declare martial law? Yep, he's just waiting for an excuse. I could go on and on. He has been affected by the incident, considering he could have unintentionally harmed her or children had the night gone differently. How exactly does one shoot children unintentionally? Adult homeowners' tenants can be mistaken for intruders. In the heat of the situation or total darkness, a lot of shots can be fired. People are trying to reason with these people. I can't stand red hats as much as the next Democrat, but this is just wrong. It's a person's right to believe what they will, live and let live. See, those are the Democrats that we have to find a way to contact. But it just goes on and on and on. What do I think, you ask? I think the comments, there are a lot of brain-damaged Republicans here. When I talk about civil war, one of the things I look at as I look at these comments, and as I look at these comments, I can see that we are in deep, deep trouble. I mean, trouble that is beyond comprehension at this point, where you don't even care that somebody could get killed just because they're a Trump supporter.